It's Saturday. So I am trying out a different setting on the camera. And today we're doing a vlog. Let's see if I can fix this a little bit. Okay, but let me trust the process. So today what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be doing a readathon kind of vlog, and basically it's so that I can try and finish this, or not even maybe finish. The minimum goal, or the dream goal, would be to get 75% finished with this. I know realistically that my minimum goal for this is to read 50 pages a day. I think right now I am behind. I think I need to read to page 300 today, minimum. And so there's that. Right now I am on page 265 of this book. And so this is something I do. This is something I do with a lot of books that are really, really long, and I'm struggling to get through them, is that I tend to just break it up in chapters so that I can see it in little fragments instead of, oh, I have to get through 800 pages. So that's just something I do. But yeah, and I want to see how far I can get on this book. Right now I've been doing roughly about 50 pages a day. Some days I don't get close to 50, so then I have to make it up in another day and read 80 or 90 pages. But right now I am at 265, and it looks great that I have this much done, but I still have this much to do. And so I have a goal of a minimum of getting to 300 today, but a goal of a minimum of getting to 350 today, page 350. That'll be my 50 pages a day, even though I'm behind. And my max goal today would be, if I could get to 500 in this thing, I would be setting myself up for potentially being able to do the last 300 pages in halves, maybe, or if I really did a readathon. But let's see how far I go. First things first, I need a coffee. I'm still struggling with this camera. I don't know why it keeps turning off. I keep recording and it keeps just stopping halfway through. But first things first, I need a coffee so I can wake up and drink my coffee to this. And I also need to feed my cats because they won't stop meowing. They actually took a calm break for the last 2 minutes, but yes. Monstros. What are you sitting on? A box. What kind of box? The Fujifilm X-M5 box. What else am I gonna do? So, I have it plugged in to charge, and I'm wondering that if I can record, but it doesn't stop the charging process. I'm pretty sure I can. It's just I don't ever use my X-T4 to record, and my Canons, I've never been able to do that before with them. So, but I just made my coffee. You saw that using my phone. So I'm just gonna basically go back and forth between those two. Things first, I have my coffee. If you have yours, if you need a buddy to read this book with, please. There will be spoilers because I am going to say my thoughts as I'm reading it, how I feel about it. So do be aware. If you're struggling to read through this, same. I actually joined a book club on Fable for this because I was like, I need someone to like hold me accountable for my pages, and not the sense that that Fable book club is counting pages. It's just I need someone to talk to about this, and I'm choosing to do a video on it because I hope that with doing a video, maybe I can force myself through the book. Not to say that the book isn't good. There is some good writing in it so far. There are some good, like, happy moments, some, like, things I can hold close to my heart. There's some very depressing moments, and then there's really interesting callbacks and backgrounds to it since it's different people's perspectives. First thing I will say is, as a girl who's struggling to get through the book, when they change perspective and I'm, like, struggling through it, I don't realize it. Maybe I'm not, like, I don't know, maybe I'm not that, you know, but because of that, I'm not like understanding why out of nowhere it's like slightly different, and so I'm like, who is this? Who are you people? But yeah, so far I've been like sometimes in books I do like put like notes in. Sometimes I don't because I'm just genuinely flying through it because I'm really enjoying it. But with this one, I guess it's kind of like helped me because like I'll read something and be like, what did I just read? And then I'll reread it. Because that's the kind of reader I am, is that if I read something and I'm not like, let me like get in focus. Okay. Like if I'm not getting the like idea past, I'll just reread the whole page or reread back a couple pages. It does, you know, it does give me a reason why I've never like I don't, sometimes if I, you know, most times I do finish a book a lot later, but it's exciting to do. And I've always been the kind of person of like, I don't want to judge a book by its cover or by the vibe that it's been given. I know this book kind of got ruined for me because I bought it a couple of years ago and a bunch of people were basically like speaking really bad about it. Not in the sense that it's a horrible book, it's just a sense of like they were talking how it was like torture, the equivalent of like torture spies in a way, just because it's just so dark. And I don't know, like where my headspace was, where I was, it just didn't sound good, so I just had it sit on my bookshelf for so long on my like physical TBR. I read a bunch of silly books this year so far. I think I've read 4 books already, and they're all like pretty silly, pretty like hee-hee. And so to help my mental health, you know, I'm gonna read this. I'm reading it alongside like my Nookbook and my digital book or my audiobook that is like less intense. But then my 2 books after this are gonna be a lot less intense, so I can like de-stress from that, and they're a lot shorter. So what are these? This is things that I resonate with, or I feel him for. And then these blue ones are self-harm, bad things that happen. And there's a lot more than this. Sometimes if the page behind it or the page in front of it also talks about it, I underline that page, but then I just leave one of this just so it's not so intense. And also I don't have that many stickies of this color, so I was like, okay. The pink there's also a couple extra ones that I didn't mark, but these are ones that I like really like in my head. I'm like, oh wow, like this is a connection, this is a different viewpoint of something that happened, or background, or that there's like this other like level to it, or there's a deeper meaning and understanding to it. And then the green, the one that there's not that much of, is happy moments, good moments. There's not a lot. And then this yellow one is like, I think I wrote down what it was exactly. Questions. That was like just a question I have, and I have one so far. And then down here, this is when I genuinely thought someone had from existence. So that's why I had that there, and I don't think that happened. So I guess I'm just gonna keep it there because it was really dark and really intense, and I genuinely thought like, but yeah. So let's start reading. I have a little bit of water. A little bit. I have my coffee made. And I don't have to stop reading until my partner gets up and we have to go to the office. So let's see how far I can go. I am on page 266. Let's see if I can. I feel like there was another. Let's see if I can get to the next chapter. Okay. Also, noise canceling. So the construction right outside my window doesn't distract me into just staring out the window, because I can struggle to focus if I'm not into something or struggling to be into something. The epitome of this book in a nutshell. This happens all the time. I'm about to be like, oh, this is a happy moment, because I'm reading the fact that Malcolm and Jude are going to Jude's suit maker, and Malcolm's going to get married and inspire a suit. I'm like, okay, that's good. Next paragraph. They're not completely certain if Malcolm's actually getting married or not. They think over the past 3 years, Sophie and Malcolm have been broken up, getting back together, broken up, and gotten back together. Why can't anything good sit? Like, I understand this is like a tragedy to a degree, like this is giving like modern Shakespeare, but like there's like in the happy moments that I have here, literally within the same page or within the next page, they're like, oh, but this person didn't get this. Like, what was it when Jude got adopted and he was so stressed out, there was so much negativity happening. Update time. I'm officially on page 300. We're getting background on JB getting pulled apart from the group. It's kind of a level of his own doing, but he also doesn't think he's good enough. He sees a divide from when everyone takes Jude's side. The first mention of therapy is here with JB going to therapy because his family does an intervention. No one else goes. No one else forces Jude, who's like trying to like deliberately do things, but JB is kind of like very into drugs, falling apart. So the intervention, his family basically calls him to therapy, and so he does reluctantly. I don't know, man. It's really sad. Every one of them, when we go to their perspectives, it's always a sad point. But JB, there's a level of like, I respect him for going to therapy because no one in this book has gone. And I do see where everyone treats him as an other. Like him and Jude both have mental health issues, but because it's shown differently, people care more for Jude than they do for him. And it's kind of sad. But I do feel for JB because to a degree, he is kind of giving his friends the evil eye. So to a little degree so far. But Still writing. I'll tell you when I check in again. So it's been 100 pages. Let's see. Maybe I'll check it in 100 pages. Maybe I'll check it in 50. Okay. Update. 5 pages later. GB. I hate you right now. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I understand you have mental health issues, you have problems, you have things you're dealing with, but like, you're not a friend. You're in a hole. You're like that evil eye. And like, what? Like, genuinely, like, I just keep getting angry. Like, I added a new tab here of like when I'm upset, and like this little like red spot, and like you're pushing it. Like, literally, those like 2 pages, those like 2 pages where I'm mad at you, it's like each side of those pages and the whole amount, because you just keep opening up your mouth and saying the worst things. Like, you're not a real friend. So, I'm heated. I can't believe the things you've said about Willem, about Malcolm, about Jude, and then being jealous of like their trauma. Nope. Reading update. Last time I saw you, it was 3:03. Now I'm at 3:41. They're 45. Don't bite that. Don't bite that. Don't do it right in front of me. Don't do it right in front of me. We're gonna have beef. Okay. Depressing. Sad. I can't believe JB did what he did. It's pretty crazy. Jude is a saint. So Jude, St. Francis, you really are a saint. It's emotional. Anger. I finally, for a while there, had nothing relatable or like I could feel, and now I feel. But very upset, very angry. Some happy moments finally, and a lot of backtracking from one chapter to another of like, this is what happened, this was our side. All I can say, wow, the fact that Jude is such a nice person could not be me. And also, thank you, Willem, for finally choosing a girl that respects your friendship. So, the last time I checked in was Saturday. No, not Saturday, Sunday. It's now Monday of the holiday, the 3-day weekend. And I got 400 pages in. The cats want to get fed. I will feed them. But genuinely, I had to stop reading. This is the first book, I think, that I have genuinely said I'm not gonna finish. I'm sorry. As someone who dealt with childhood trauma, as someone who literally like has met people who has had rough lives, this is horrendous. I understand tragic stories. I read tragic stories, and I know that to a degree, like, tragic stories help heal. The further I got in this book, the worse it got, the more descriptive it got, the longer it got, the more aggressive it got, to a comical sense to some level, where it didn't feel real, and it just felt like you were reading bad things to read bad things. And as someone who values their mental health and knows that, you know, it took me forever to be okay to finally read the book, let alone to read this, to read the descriptions, to read it didn't feel like a real person anymore. It just felt like, this is a character, and this is the life I'm gonna give you of tragicness. And I understand there's tragedies. There's great tragedies, like, you know, books by Edgar Allan Poe or Macbeth and stuff like that, but not to this degree. I think to a degree, to be an effective, well-written tragedy, you have to let off to levels. And it just didn't feel real. And me as a, you know, half Asian woman, half you know, Latina, Mexican, I'm within level with her because she is an Asian woman. I would never write a book like this. Maybe I would never write a book, but like, I'm sorry, like, I've never been so angered, so moved. Like, I understand to a degree, to have good writing, to have concise writing, you have to make it, like, you know that something was written well if it angers you or makes you feel something. And I get that. But also, to a degree, there is snuff that will make you angry, and it's not because it's written well. It's because it's snuff. It's because it's meant to provoke a feeling. The same way that, you know, very like Woody Allen. Yes, to a degree, there's some good writing in there, and there's some good stories, but the use of the Lolita like viewpoint from a predator's mindset is not something that we should be allowing, and be normalized to the same degree of the characters that I feel that this book is. I'm not a black gay man or a gay man or a bisexual man or a man to have a full ability to be like, no, but I am someone who understands books. I love books. I read so many books as a child. I've read really intense books that I shouldn't have read as a child. I read Dr. Zhivago as a person in middle school. To my degree, that was a horrible book that you should not have read, like, in middle school / like 5th grade. No, I don't think that this book should be put in schools. I don't think this book should be taught to young kids. I think this book is for people who read so much dark stuff, like true crime, and watch it as entertainment, and just don't really think of it in a deeper sense. Because it's hard for me to believe that someone who truly suffered can read this and not feel triggered, cannot feel affected, cannot feel angered by the surface level that some things are. And let alone, I looked into hanya, so I read this all the way up into 2, 3 in the morning. I had to stop. I was angry. And I was feeling very, very in a dark place. And I wasn't, like, yes, my mental health wasn't perfect, but reading more into hanya yanagihara, I think she has biases about the people she writes about, to the point that these people become comical viewpoints of what's going on. And not that I think it's comical, it's that I think it becomes a point where you're writing people in such a bad way, like so much trauma, that it feels like maybe you don't see these people as people. Because like I hardly see anytime something good happens, she doesn't let it sit. She says, oh, you got a cookie, well, let me do something bad to you. And I'm not going to use the words for it because it can be triggering, but that's how it feels. I wrote it. I literally wrote so many notes, just so many notes, where I literally, any little moment that anything was happy, she followed it up by something so messed up or so dark, and nothing could ever sit happy. And I just, no, like, all I'm gonna say is, if you have any sense of trauma, guard yourself. Don't try to read this because it's supposedly in your bestsellers or it's on the list of things, because that's what I did. Believe your gut and don't buy it and don't put it. Like, this book, I would not I would not put it in a free library. I would not put it where kids can find it, and I would not put it where victims of abuse can find it, or anyone in protected classes in which these people are spoken about. Because there comes a point where this becomes a hurtful narrative, and I think that's what she did. And her social presence, where she mutes the comments and she makes it because she knows that there's something wrong. Like, the narrative, the praise that she's gotten has changed in the last couple years, and she knows, and that's why anytime she states anything about this book, she has it so that only people who like her can say something, and anyone who has a negative opinion can't say anything. I've never felt so aggressive about something, and I have read Tender is the Flesh, and I understand that to grieve, to feel something is a book that could be well written, but this is the first book I've read that I truly feel that to love this book, to recommend this book, it's a sort of test in your psyche. It's the sense of, do you put the cart back or do you not? Like, I feel like this would be another test of that. So yeah, I'm gonna go read the most childish book on my TBR, Better Than the Movies, and I am going to not watch anything that's dark. That could be triggering, because I need to empty my brain of this. I need to forget the 400 pages I've read, and I'm a person who never wants to do not finish. This is my first did not finish that I know that I will not pick up. Sorry this book has completely changed the video, but yeah, I'm gonna go stare at a wall. See you guys. Also, I believe that you should be able to write about whatever you want, but to only write about tragic sufferings of gay men and minorities. And also to state that when you write nothing but trauma-inducing, detail by detail books that are way too long, and to say you don't believe in talk therapy, and to not have like some form of therapist or some sort of like person with the cognitive ability, and to make up diseases. I'm sorry. The longer I think of this book, the more I am like just heated towards her, and I'm sorry if that makes me a bad person, because I love books and I love stories and I love learning things, and I am one nosy human being, but I need to get rid of this copy of this book because it enrages me to have it in my house.